Interested in a lie-flat bed on a 10-hour flight for just 1,100 Australian dollars? This video is for you. Here I am at Ho Chi Minh, Saigon International Airport, waiting to board my A330 service down to Melbourne. This video is all about what I reckon is the best value business class seat in the sky. VietJet boarded their economy passengers first, keeping all the business class passengers in the terminal. And finally, when it came time to board, the reason for this became apparent. VietJet had a special bus set aside for business class passengers. I'm not really sure a special bus was required, but it was perhaps nice. As you've guessed, the aircraft was located at a remote stand, and that's often the case with low-cost carriers. I really don't mind that. In fact, I quite like it because it means you get some great airfield views as you're heading out to your aircraft. There were plenty of VietJet machines around. There was also a nice A350 from Aeroflot and a rather older Aeroflot plane. I'll show that to you later on. Ho Chi Minh is a busy airport, and the drive out to the plane took about 5 minutes. But soon enough we arrived, and perhaps just like boarding a private jet, I don't know, we get to go up the stairs to be greeted by the friendly staff. Now, when I talk about the friendly flight attendants, I really do mean it. The service on this flight was great. The staff were attentive, they were enthusiastic, and they were very, very pleasant to chat to. Unlike Qantas first class, I was shown right to my seat. Normally I get myself settled and take a few things out of my carry-on bag, but on VietJet, the staff picked up my bag and were actually putting it away for me before I could turn around. It wasn't necessary, I didn't expect it, but it's perhaps a reflection of the VietJet attitude to service. Now here's that Aleutian I was talking about. I think it's an IL-76. 4 engines, something from a bygone era. Here's an unobstructed view of that IL-76 as we push back for an on-time departure. There was a ground staff member waving at the pilot, I'm guessing, but perhaps they were also waving at the passengers. Absolutely not necessary, but a nice touch, I have to say. Now, I mentioned the staff were very, very attentive and enthusiastic. As we taxied out, the staff came to take our food order. Business class fares include meals, and they also include drinks. The staff were friendly, they were informed, they knew about the different meal options. It was a short taxi out to the active runway. A company A330 took off just before us, followed by a Vietnam Airlines A320. I have to say, I really like this Vietnam Airlines colour scheme. After the 321, we lined up for a departure to the west. As I said, on-time flight. A commercial airline taking off is an amazing thing. There have been thousands of people involved in getting the aircraft to the beginning of the runway, but what I think is truly amazing is the power that the engines deploy to accelerate 220, 230 tons in the case of an A330 to 140, 150 knots, and then for it to climb rapidly and safely into the sky. It's just an amazing moment. Well, I think so at least. Soon Ho Chi Minh was behind us, and there were some really nice cloud formations to look at as we headed up to altitude. I don't know about you, but I love looking out at the weather, at the clouds, at the scenery when I'm flying. Once we reached altitude, the crew brought round the meal meal service, and it was a pretty nice meal. There was some nice beef pho, some condiments to be added, some little prawn bites with peanut sauce, and of course the obligatory bread roll. The fresh coconut drink was a nice touch. If there was one thing I didn't like about the meal, it was the wooden cutlery, but I sort of understand that from the perspective of a low-cost carrier. I have to say, the food was pretty good. There's clearly been some attention to detail in preparing the VietJet meal service. All of the chopsticks and cutlery was stamped with the VietJet logo. There's a good range of cocktails available too. The friendly staff will be happy to bring you whatever you want. I could, and I do, spend hours looking outside the aircraft. It's just such a privilege to be able to see the world from 35,000 feet. This was a 10-hour flight, and there was another meal service prior to arrival into Melbourne. I think I had the nasi lemak. It was pretty good, I have to say. The right amount of flavour, the right amount of spice, and good taste. 10 or so hours later, we were on approach into Melbourne. And I have to say, this was a great flight. 1,100 Australian dollars for a lie-flat business class seat is just astronomical value. VietJet provided a really, really good service, attentive, friendly staff, tasty meals, and a comfortable flight for an unbeatable price. To get the $1,100 fare, you'll need to book well in advance, but if you can plan ahead and this fare is available, don't hesitate.